Hey everybody, Christian here with 779 Off Grid. Long time no see. I thought today I would bring you for a tour of my off-grid setup. I've had many people asking me about it and they want some specifics, especially winter production. And since we've been doing this for about 9 months, I just wanted to kind of give an overview of what we're experiencing out here. I've got 8 600-watt bifacial solar panels mounted up here on my gable end. I built a custom rack out of some C-channel and some clamps, and it worked really well. I had it all inspected by the county, and they're happy with everything. And this is my only array, and I'll tell you what, there are some downsides to it. Number one is in the winter, the sun does not pop up above these trees. And so in the future, I'm going to be putting in a second array on the outside of those trees. The power that's produced comes into this inverter from that conduit that I've run from the panels. There's also a shutoff up there as well. So that power goes, that DC power goes into this inverter, and then it is put into those two batteries. I'll tell you a little bit later why I decided to go off-grid, and I can also talk about the costs and what I would change and what I would do different if I would do it again. So once the power is converted to, or charging these batteries here, then it is sent back to the inverter where it's converted to usable power for the house and put into the electrical panel and distributed throughout the house. And our house is pretty well the same as everybody else's. We've got, a washer, dryer, fridge, deep freeze. This is our heating system. It's all hydronic. And so we're not exactly any different than any other house out there. Another piece of our off-grid setup, and pretty well a necessity if you're going to be in a northern climate and being off-grid, is a generator. I purchased this light tower when we first came off-grid, and it has a 3-cylinder D1105 Kubota generator and a 6 kilowatt, Kubota engine and a 6 kilowatt generator that I've wired into a plug that goes onto the back of the house and into this charge inverter. This charge inverter takes pretty well any kind of dirty power. When I say dirty power, the power that's produced by that light tower isn't good enough to power up any electronics in our house, really. So basically that dirty power goes into that charge inverter. That charge inverter then converts it to the proper DC voltage, which then charges the batteries. As I alluded to earlier, we are off grid, but we still have everything that everybody else would have. Some of the bigger draws would be, so let's say, an electric stove when we went with gas, which actually I prefer over electric. We have a microwave, we have a dishwasher, coffee maker, espresso maker. We went with the all-in-one washer dryer because we figured if we were going electric, we might as well go all in instead of a electric washer and a gas dryer. If you wanted me to do a review later of this washer and dryer, I would be happy to do that. I'm very impressed with it so far. Couple TVs, water pump, hydronic heating system with wood boiler outside, which has a water pump and a fan in it. So these are kind of the heart of the system. This is what I'm monitoring mostly throughout the day, maybe 1 to 2 times a day, making sure that we have enough power to make it through. This is just a screen that they have on the batteries. I like these batteries. I think they're a really great setup. Between the two of them, I have about 27 kilowatt hours of storage, and I I probably could add one more battery, I would imagine. Just wasn't, as far as the cost of it goes, just wasn't feasible at the time. You can see that we have all the information on here right now, what the battery's doing, which is charging, the what the level is, what the battery is at. It's not 96%, the voltage, and things like that. And anyhow, what you find when you're off grid, this becomes one of those things that you are checking on a daily basis. In the summer, I would say in the winter, you're checking on it more often, just because you need to be on top of it. Some of the things that I could add in the future would be an automatic generator startup system that would start the generator when the power in the batteries drops too low. That would probably be pretty helpful. But what I'm going to do now, I'll show you kind of how much power I'm using and how much I'm producing starting in December, because that's when we started the monitor on this inverter. Now the inverter is kind of the brains. When you are monitoring it, everything comes through the inverter. There's a little Wi-Fi dongle that can communicate online, so you can check your battery percentage, what your panels are charging at, how much energy you're using. You can check it in real time. This is the EG4 monitoring app. Kind of gives you all the information you need to keep an eye on your system. On the top left, you'll see how much power you made so far that day. You'll see 9.3 kilowatt hours and how much you've made lifetime. And then same thing with battery discharge. Today I've used 2 kilowatt hours and I've discharged in total 1.78 megawatt hours. Feed-in energy doesn't apply to me. And then consumption is how much power I've used today. And that's different than battery discharge, because that would be not including what I've produced. And then down here you can see that my panels are doing about 655 watts. 213 watts are going back into the batteries, and we're using about 370 watts. I like this. I like being able to monitor this. It's kind of a neat thing to do. It's kind of like a challenge to see how little power you can use, and you really keep an eye on all this stuff so that you can make decisions on what you can do, like let's say running the dishwasher or running a load of laundry, or if you want to run a load of laundry, do you just want to wash it and then put it out on the line to dry. A little bit further down you can see battery information, so state of charge, so what the battery percentage is at, and state of health, cycle counts of the batteries and things like that. And then just below that you can see input and output. So the orange line is how much power you're using at a given time, and then the blue line is your solar output. And you can kind of see there, my minimum consumption is about 150 watts at night, and then it jumps up to 213. And this cycles back and forth, and that difference is the difference between the deep freeze coming on and off. So 115 is like the minimum, and then when my deep freeze comes on, it jumps up to 213. You can kind of see it here in a little bit more detail where it goes up and down and up and down. And then you kind of see here where the coffee maker comes on in the morning. So we woke up at that time, and then some other bigger consumers come on and throughout the day. That purple line is the battery state of charge, and you could see that it's it comes down all night till the sun comes out, and then it starts working its way back up. And overnight we lose about 12 to 15% of our battery in the summer, and in the winter it's about 20%. At the bottom you can see that we have our energy overview. That energy overview is basically showing you how much power you've used and how much power you've produced. So the blue line, you always want the blue line taller than the orange line. And this is just for the month of August so far. And pretty well every day we're making more power than we're using. And what I'll do here is I'll switch it over to the year. But you're going to see basically for the first 2 months of the year, we're not using, we're using more power than we're producing. And that's just because the sun is so low in the sky and it's just not making it past those trees. So you'll see here, the first 2 months, we're making way less power than we need. But then starting in March, it starts to turn around, and we're almost at par for the month 3 and 4, and then we're making more power for May, June, and July. And this is just for 2025. You can see the disparity here of power produced and power consumed. So the question is, would I do it again? Well, we've wanted to go off grid for many years, and pretty excited that we actually did it. The cost of the system was about the same as bringing power into our place. So somewhere in that $15,000 to $17,000 range was about the cost to bring power in. The panels, the inverter, the batteries, the wiring, that all cost about $17,000. The setup of it, like the racking, the conduit, was maybe another $500 more. And also I had to buy a generator. I went, with that light plant, which you can pick up pretty reasonable, like $2,500 I think I paid for that, or $2,600. And so I think if I had to, put a number on it, it was about $20,000 to get into it. So the question is, would I do it again? I think the jury is out right now. Like, I know going forward there's going to be additional costs. Like, I do want to add another array outside of the trees, and so that's going to cost probably another $2,500. But there is something to be said about being self-sufficient. I enjoy it. It's just like the wood boiler. I enjoy that I can cut wood and heat the house with that. Probably save some money doing that too. And so yeah, I'd like to have a couple of years under my belt to see if anything goes wrong or if there's going to be any additional costs that I didn't think about. But I do enjoy it, and I did calculate at one point the payoff would be around 7 years. That would be including the price of the power that I would have to pay for if I did connect to the grid. So I think it's more of a long-term play than after 9 months or a year or whatever it is, saying, yeah, definitely it was worth it. So I definitely have to run it a little bit longer. But either way, that's kind of an update. In addition to that, our house is pretty well done. There's a few things here and there that have to be finished, but we've been living in here, and since we moved, like that one video I put on, we moved in November to the garage, and then Easter we moved into the upstairs, and so we're really liking it. There's a few things I would do different, and probably there's a video in that alone what I would do different if I was going to build my own house again. And but anyhow, hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe, like, and comment as usual.